Lovely. Lovely.
Slay them all. Talk to me. Be good. Off with you. Watch your back. Be good. Off with you.
This person's going for rank 14. Hey, Teddy. Yeah. Bone slicing hatchet. Rank 8. Yeah. His shoulders are ridiculous. Yeah, I know. I tried to get the bone slicing hatchets from Undead Stratholme. I've run through there about, I don't know, 10 times. Never even seen them drop once, which is a little surprising. They normally drop fairly frequently, or at least more frequently than what I saw. Oh, they got the weird pet. I don't think I trust any. I don't trust anybody who's any hunter who doesn't rename their pet. Like, you don't rename your pet. What's going on? You lose money every run? Why, do you die or something? Yeah, just no good drops. Yeah, it's true. Not much money to be made running Undead Strathel. Yeah, I don't even think I did the Strath quest. Yeah, for the hunter, it's like I run it because there's the boots I think that drop there for hunter. There's the leggings that drop there for hunter. You know, the beast stalker leggings, beast stalker boots. Actually, no, the boots don't drop there. I don't think. I think the boots drop in Skolo. I think. Yeah, definitely the leggings drop, and of course the bone slicing hatchet, which is bone slicing hatchet is more of a ranged thing though. Yeah. Yeah, Int's definitely better. I agree with you on that one. I think Int's better as well. I like to get about 4 items that have plus spell power or plus healing. 3 or 4 items with plus healing, the rest like is pretty much intellect. For like my healer, you know. Where you going, buddy? Where you going, pet? I don't know why you. Alright.
Lovely.
That was a fast one.
What can I do for you? Be good.
Giant stalker. How can this guy have giant stalker gear, but he hasn't enchanted any of it? I mean, how do you have, like... Guy's got, like, giant stalker gear, but he hasn't enchanted any of it. And here's that hunter with the leather shoulders again. The Spaulders of the Unseen. Good rogue shoulders.
Lovely. Lovely. Lovely.
destroy them.
To battle! Lovely.
Still trying to get. I've been trying to get this pet to level 60 for God, I don't know how long. It's been a long time.
Lovely.
Probably looks like we got maybe a turtle. I love turtles when I'm trying to level this bet. Make it last a long time. No, no, notorious.
Slay them all. Well met.
Hmm. Rank 13.
Lovely.
What's on your mind?
Keep your feet on the ground.
Definitely slacking on my AV on it this week. Hmm.
You're alive. How disappointing. I've also survived, no thanks to you. Did I not bring you some glee, mister? Oh, look at me. Now I'll burn all the memories of you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been the most beautiful audience. Remember to toss a coin if you can. If anyone needs me, I'll be at the bar. What for the earn? It's the point of no return. After everything we did, we saw. You turned your back on me. What for? To earn? What's that butcher burn? At the end of my days when I'm through, no word that I've written will ring quite as true as burn. Burn, butcher, burn. Burn, butcher, burn. Burn, 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 burn. Burn, 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 burn. Watch me burn all the memories of you.
Hey, John, what's up? Not much, just trying to do a few AVs, get my pet level up again, and I'm way behind on honor, so. But it is AV weekend, so hopefully we can catch up on the weekend. Yeah, it is May. Oh, that reminds me. I need to pay my rent, don't I? Thank you for telling me welcome to May. I'm paying my rent via my phone. Submit. All right. You reminded me it's the first of the month. I got to pay my rent. Rent has been paid. Hey, what server is this? This is actually... This is Dream Scythe. This is the WoW Classic Anniversary PvE server. Dream Scythe. Yeah, the usual that's exactly. I'm running around on my solo world in Dragon Wilds. If I can move into Swampy Region by night. Oh yeah, Dragon Wilds, cool. Yeah, Dragon Wilds is pretty fun. I just was like, you know, I got kind of tired of how long it took me to get to open up like some of the building materials I wanted. But you know me, I want to get to rank 14 on this character, so unfortunately it's so time consuming that I don't really have a lot of time to play other games at the moment. But once I get rank 14, then I'll have more time. You know, have more time to do other stuff, and we'll be able to play some more Dragon Wilds, and we'll be able to do some.
What can I do for you?
Be able to do some. You know, Oblivion remastered.
See you soon.
Get some janky combat action in. Yeah. He's got his Goblin rocket helm. He's got his Giant Stalker bracers enchanted with +1. I just... yeah. Giant Stalker bracers +1 agility. Ooh, pet level 53. 7 more levels to go. Hmm.
Destroy them.
So I've been on the search for the perfect. I've been on the search for the perfect guitar for a long time. Like
Lovely.
I think this year I've bought I bought 2 guitars this year. I usually buy 2 guitars almost every year, right? And I'm always looking for the perfect guitar for me. But the problem I think I've made, and I think a problem a lot of people make, is you tend to buy guitars that aren't like super expensive because they're not super expensive, And so you end up buying, like a lot of guitars that are, depending on how much money you have, in a certain range, right? Like I bought a guitar this year that was $900. I bought a guitar this year that was $1,500. So I bought 2 guitars this year. One cost me like, I think one was like $600. The other one was like $1,500. Both good guitars, right? What I'm looking for is the perfect Telecaster for me. And I think I gotta stop buying all these moderately priced guitars, and I think I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and spend a little bit more money. But the guitar I want to get is like super expensive, like way more than I thought they were. These nacho casters, which are made by this custom luthier in Europe. The worst part too is they're in Europe, so I gotta, the U.S. to pounds conversion is certainly not in my favor. So this is the guitar I would like to get. It's a nacho guitar. So it'd be something like this. A beautiful, like, handmade Telecaster. Only problem is these guitars run about $8,000 to $10,000. These are previously sold. I don't know if you can buy them from directly. How do you buy them from this? I don't think you can buy them directly from this guy. Or buy a Nacho guitar. I think you don't. I think you can custom order. Like submit your application. GitOpla is an online membership club exclusive. Only members of the Nacho Club receive a product offering. So apparently, you need to join. So we'll join the Nacho Club. But I think that's my next guitar that I want to get. But the problem is I don't want to spend. The problem is it's European, so it's that conversion, man. Like the conversion right now is terrible. It's like worse even than I thought it was. Like. If we can get the conversion up to closer to 1-to-1, right? But man, it hasn't been 1-to-1 in a long time. Well, okay. In 2022, we were almost 1-to-1. What just happened? What, 3 months ago? Well, here. 1 year. Yeah, so we were up to right here, yeah. In January, we were around 0.82. Which would have been better, right?
Well met.
Looks like look who they have. Did you notice who they have on their website in the image right here? This is Billy. This is Billy from ZZ Top, Billy Gibbons. So apparently he's a fan of Nacho guitars. Okay. Okay, so if you want to buy one of their guitars, you have to email them. So I can tell you that I know one place that sells them. It is Anderton's. Anderson also sells these Hansons, right? Which are, these here are very good Telecaster guitars, right? But again, this is also a European, right? Yeah, I do love Telecaster thin line. So here's another guitar that would be, but again, you run into the problem of, it's in the world of guitars generally. I would like to say that generally you get what you pay for, right? Generally you get what you pay for. Not always, but usually. This is a really nice thin line that I wouldn't mind purchasing. And this one's like about 3,300, and of course this is also from a British website, so I would end up paying, unfortunately, the conversion. But this is a really nice, and I love thin line Telecasters, and this has got the brass saddles. You know, it's a really nice looking guitar, and it's made by Hanson, which is a very, very high quality manufacturer of guitars in Europe. And these are also handmade. You know, these guys only put out like about 30 guitars, I think. You know, I think they only put out like 30 guitars a year or something. I'm not sure how many. They don't put out a lot. They don't make very many because they're all made by hand. But $32.99 is going to be a little bit better than the Nacho guitar. Yeah. Yeah, the Nacho guitars, the thing about the Nacho guitars is I screwed up. So here you can see, here's one for $7,600, but it's used. So now you're getting a used one, right? Which, you know, it's like when you get, it's like anything. When you get to the point where you're up to paying like $7,000, $8,000, do you want to buy used? Do you want to pay $7,500 for a used one, or do you want to pay maybe $9,000 for a brand new one? When you're paying that kind of money, you know, I'm not really a believer of buying used when you're spending a lot of money. That's like buying a car. It's like I don't really want to buy a used car. If there's a used car for $10,000, I'd rather buy the new one for $35,000, just because, you know what I mean? Just the peace of mind knowing it's brand new. Yeah, the car. Yeah, the people that make those guitars know what they're doing. So the nice thing about something like a Nacho guitar, where you're paying like that kind of money, is you know they're going to stand behind their product. So if there's any issues, you're not really worried about that. But but this is a used one. But I mean, this is what these guitars look like brand new. I mean, he ages them. You know, Nacho Banos is the guy who makes these guitars. So I don't know how many people that would work for a Nacho, but holy crap, those guitars. I was hoping they weren't going to be that expensive. I knew they were expensive when I looked them up, but I didn't know they were that expensive. You know, I mean, that's crazy. I don't know. Look at this one. This one wants $76,000 for this one. I don't know why they want so much money. Okay, I suppose it was owned by... Just because it was an early serial number of this particular model, they were trying to sell it for that. Guitars are so funny. It's like, oh, just because this is one of the earliest ones he made, we're going to charge you, you know, 8 times more. It's like, I don't care that it was one of the first ones he made. In fact, I actually wouldn't really, from like a professional luthier, or somebody who's like manufacturing kind of like Fender type copies, you know, I wouldn't really want like the first couple he made, because he's going to be getting better and better at his craft the more he makes, because he's pretty much building these by hand. So I really wouldn't want an early one. I'd rather have one of the more recent ones after he's kind of like, you know, perfected his craft. You know what I mean? In classical music, yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't want like something like that. But you can see there's a few Nacho guitars on Reverb, and they're like all up around $10,000, right? I'm not a fan. Like, the only thing I don't like about these types of guitars where they wear them is I don't really like the fingerboard being. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the fingerboard being that worn in. But honestly, I've never played a guitar that was relished to that point. I do love the body when it's all kind of beat up, and the ashtray with the metal all worn out. I do like that. Anyways, I think for me getting this guitar, a Nacho guitar, I would get one brand new, right, from Nacho himself. I would contact him and have him build me one. And I don't know, my wife probably wouldn't be too happy about it. If I got one. She'd be like, that's money for our retirement. Well, I could probably get about $4,000, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 if I just sold a bunch of guitars that I don't really use anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's not even about getting really, really good. I mean, I play guitar pretty much every day. Like, I pretty much pick up my guitar and play them pretty much every day, right? But I'm not like a great guitar player. I mean, I'm okay. I'm a good guitar player. But I play it pretty much every day. For me, it's a hobby. It's something I do because it's relaxing. It's peaceful. I enjoy it, you know? I'm not playing guitar because I'm going to go join a band or anything like that. For me, it's just a hobby. It's something I enjoy, you know? It's very relaxing to just sit there. And my cats love it. Believe it or not, my cats love it when I play guitar. Like, I sit down and I'll play guitar. All the cats come and just sit around me and listen. I don't know. They love it, man. It's hilarious. My wife always laughs about it. She's like, yeah, the cats love it when my husband plays the guitar. I mean, it sounds good. Let's not lie. But, yeah. And plus, I'm going to be retired. I'm retiring, hopefully, within the next 10 years. I'm going to retire. And I want to get a cabin somewhere in the woods. I'm either going to get a cabin, and I want to get a cabin in Tennessee, but my wife doesn't want to go too far away from her parents. So she's kind of leaning towards getting maybe something
Great to meet you.
in Georgia, because we're closer to Georgia, and I guess there's really nice areas. Believe it or not, I've never been a big fan of the state of Georgia, but mostly because I hate Atlanta. Although Georgia's a great state for music. Like, there are some nice areas in Georgia, though. I would want to go, and Georgia's a big state. Look how big Georgia is, right? I would want to live in the northern parts of Georgia because it's colder. I like cold weather, so not too far north, but... And plus, the further north you get in Georgia, the closer you get to some of the foothills of the mountains, so you're going to get some really nice elevation, which is nice. I love the rolling hills. So something like, you know, obviously, here's Blairsville, Georgia, a charming town with a population around 650. Nestled in the North Georgia mountains near the picturesque shores of Lake Notley. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to live here, right? So this would be someplace I'm thinking about retiring, you know. Best 15 best things to do. Vogel State Park. So here's a state park that's close. It looks just like the state park in Tennessee that we go to. Look at the similarity between this park and... Wow, it looks so similar. This is the park in Tennessee that I go to all the time. Let me get here. So here's Standing Stone State Park. Right. Anyway, here's Vogel State Park here. Look how similar that looks to Standing Stone State Park, right? Here's Standing Stone State Park. Here's Vogel. Anyways, yeah. So, but yeah, we're looking for a place to retire. And I want to build my Lincoln Log, Honest Abe Lincoln Log cabin. Wherever we go. And I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to play my guitar on the porch in the morning, drink my coffee. And I'll spend my days drawing and working on my MMO. Writing my own MMO, right? And drawing and playing guitar and hanging out with the wife. That's my retirement plans. Yeah, just to show you how good a nacho guitar sounds, I want to play something for you.
This channel is supported by TrueFire. Simple guitar.
So this guitar on the left, I think, is the Nacho. Where's the... See, this isn't what I want. He had a better video of it. So he goes, I sold loads of guitars to buy this one Nacho caster.
This channel is you be able to get like on the December build.
There really isn't. He said it. In the section here, it says, "My first time playing, I'm ill." I'm not sure what that means. He's ill good or ill bad.
I feel quite ill at the moment, so I need to kind of let it settle in a little bit more. The body looks pretty fantastic. I think the neck on that Dano might even... I don't know, I'll do a video on this at some point. Like the.
So there's the Nacho caster. There's also the Dano caster. And these are kind of like a couple different companies that make these vintage guitars. I don't know how much a Dano caster costs. So I need to do more research on it. But I'll answer your question here in a second. You can see the Dano casters look like they're cheaper. Here's a 2022 Dano caster thin line, and it's only 4,200. So that's actually quite a bit. Obviously, I don't like the finish on that guitar at all. To be honest, that looks very fake. That finish looks really fake. They're trying to do like a I'm not sure what's going on with that finish, but yeah, the Dano casters look like they're cheaper than the Nacho caster. I'll have to do a little bit more research on it. But to answer your question, is there any reason to have more than one guitar? Really, the reason that guitar players have more than one is, I think the easy answer for me, at least, and I think for a lot of guitar players, is because you're looking for that one perfect guitar for you, and it's the one that you just picks up and feels perfect. It feels like the easiest to play, and it has all the features that you want. Like, you love the neck, you love the frets, you love the sound. You know, everything is exactly kind of what you're looking for. And the problem is, most guitar players, when they first start playing guitar, don't really know what that is, because you haven't played enough guitars to really understand what are the features of the guitar that you like the most, because there's so many different types of guitars. So you may pick up a guitar and think, this is perfect for me, like this neck is perfect, these pickups are perfect. But then you play like 10 of the guitars, you might find two others that are like, no, this one's better, this pickup's better, or this neck is better. And it's just like this ongoing nightmare almost, where every time you pick up a guitar, it feels perfect, but then you pick up another one, you're like, well, that one's better than this one. And so I think the reason a lot of guitar players end up with a lot of guitars is that reason exactly, is they're trying to find the perfect one that they feels perfectly suited to them. And most guitar players, I think, never find it. They find tons of guitars they love. It's like, well, I love this guitar, I love that guitar. But they don't really necessarily find that perfect one. For me, that's one reason you have a lot of guitars, is because you're looking for the perfect one. And then the other reason is, when you first start playing guitar, you don't even know, like, what is your sound? Like, what music do you want to make with your guitar? Like, what sounds best to you? And you might have like a Telecaster and play it and like the sound of the pickups, but then you might play a Stratocaster. Well, I like Stratocaster better. Then you might play a Les Paul. Oh, I like a Les Paul. Then you might play a Rickenbacker and say, well, the Rickenbacker's got a better sound. You might play an ES335. You might play who knows? It could be like a semi-hollow body guitar. Like, it could be a thin line Telecaster. It could be a lighter. It could be a Telecaster made out of mahogany versus one that's made out of ash versus one that's made out of alder. There's so many variations of guitars, and so many variations of pickups, and so many variations of amps, and You know, and I think it's like you spend years and years and years a developing a kind of knowledge with the equipment, with the gear. You get better and better at understanding the gear, understanding, you know. So I think every time as a guitar player you pick up a guitar and play it, you learn something. You learn something not only about the guitar, obviously, but you learn something about you as a player. You learn, like, well, do I like this thin neck? Do I like this thick neck? Do I like this finish on this neck? Do I like these tall frets? Do I like these narrow frets? Do I like the width of the nut? I mean, everything affects how you play the guitar, right? The width of the nut. If it's really narrow, there's not going to be much spacing in between the strings. If you've got big fat sausage fingers, which thankfully I do not, that could be a problem, right? Then there's the radius of the neck. You know, you got a 7.25 inch vintage radius versus a 9.5 versus a 12 versus, you know, there's so many, you know what I mean? And so why do guitar players have a lot of guitars? I think it's usually because they're searching for the perfect guitar. And also I would say because they don't know what they like. They buy a guitar and they play it, and then they go to a guitar store and there's like, you go to a guitar store and there's hundreds of guitars in the guitar store, and you pick up like 20 guitars and realize that maybe 15 of them you like better than the ones you have at home. So I like this guitar better than the one I have at home. But invariably the ones you like more, just like everything in this world, are more expensive than the ones you have. Like when you start out playing guitar, you usually don't have a lot. Most people don't have a lot of money if they started playing guitar at a young age, so they buy inexpensive guitars because they just don't have a lot of money, right?
Lovely.
And of course, if you buy inexpensive guitars, just like anything else in this world, you're going to find out that generally you get what you pay for. The more money you pay, typically the higher quality the guitar, right? Like, I think if I can, here, let me go to Fender. So I know it's a long, hard, difficult question to answer. Let me go to Fender. So if I go to Fender's website, I actually have my account on Fender. I don't know why it's jumping around. Quit jumping around. And if I go to my gear section on Fender, you can actually register your Fender guitars. If you buy a guitar from Fender, you can register the serial number to you on their website. And and I've done that with a lot of my Fenders. Not all of them, because I have more Fenders than this, but I've registered a lot of them. So if I go to Fender's website, I can actually look at a lot of the Fender guitars I own currently. Like here, you can see that I own a Fender 50s Ventera Stratocaster. I own an American Professional Stratocaster. I own an American Standard Telecaster. I own a Classic Series Telecaster, Classic 50 Stratocaster, a Pawn Shop Stratocaster, and a Ventera's Tele's Custom. So these are just the ones that I've gone to their website and put my serial number in and registered to me. And these are all good guitars. I mean, this one I sold. I don't own this one anymore. I got rid of that one. This one I still own. This one I still own. Wait. Yeah, I still own, and still own. I still own all the others. Yeah, I'm not just going to invest that. So I think most guitar players, they start off and they buy the cheaper guitars because they just are starting to learn how to play guitar. So they're not investing a lot of money into it because they don't even know if you're going to continue to play guitar. Like, 80% of people who pick up a guitar and start learning guitar don't stick with it. Probably maybe even higher than that. It's a very high percentage of people that when they start playing guitar, that the people that actually stick with it and continue to play for a long time is a very small percentage. Although I think that percentage is probably greater today than it used to be, because the tools and the stuff out there that are available to people to learn guitar are so much easier now. Like, it's way easier. It's like 10,000 times easier to learn guitar today than it was when I started learning guitar in like 2000. Because back then there was no really YouTube or resources online. You just you had to go either get a guitar teacher or go buy a book, you know, how to learn to play the guitar book or something to teach you scales and chords and music theory, you know. So yeah, the question's funny. I think, you know, it's a lot of different reasons why guitar players have a lot of guitars, right? I think one of the biggest reasons is when you first start out, you're buying inexpensive ones because you don't have a lot of money, or you don't want to invest a lot of money because you're not sure if you're going to stick with it. And then if you do stick with it and you start getting better as a guitar player, then you're going to want to buy better quality instruments. And then when you start to understand what you like about the guitar, because I have played guitar since 1996. I started playing guitar in 1996, right? So I've been playing guitar for like 30 years. And I was pretty fortunate that the first guitar I bought was like a $900 guitar. It wasn't like a cheap, and I still have that guitar. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't have that one. I have my second guitar I ever purchased. First guitar I ever purchased was a Fender Deluxe Strat Plus. So the first guitar was this one right here. First guitar I ever bought was this one. It was a Crimson Burst Red finish for the Deluxe Strat Plus with the Fender Lace Sensor pickups, which to this day I love these pickups, by the way. And yeah, that was pretty much my guitar. Mine had the LSR roller nut, the locking tuners. This is made in 95, 96. Let's see what the year. 1995. They only made this model in a few years. Like this one, it's selling right now for $1,444. I purchased this one for about $900 in 96. So this is the first guitar I ever had. I sold that guitar. I kind of regretted it because I actually like now I don't regret it now as much as I did. Now that I know more about guitars and know more about what I like, I realize now that Stratocasters aren't my favorites. They're not my favorite guitar. So I don't I don't regret selling this one as much as I used to, because Strats aren't my favorite. They're my second favorite. My favorite guitars are Telecasters. And if you go to, let's see, Mad. The most recent guitar I purchased was this one. And this one was $1,500. And I bought this one, a few months ago. And this is a Telecaster, right? This is a Telecaster. And this guitar is really, really quite nice. I actually really like this guitar. The only bad thing about this guitar is it's heavy, like super heavy. Like it's like 9 pounds, which is quite heavy for a guitar. Part of that reason is because it has active electronics in it. The back, it's got multiple switchings. It's got these extra. It's got like an amplifier built in, which is the switch right here. And it's got some different phase switching, but so it does have some additional electronics that do increase the weight. And the other thing I don't like about it is the width of the nut is a little bit narrow. So luckily I don't have super big hands, so that helps. But it's very narrow at the nut, so you don't have a lot of room to fret these strings, down at the early, the first like 4 or 5 frets. Of course, as the neck moves up, it gets wider and it becomes quite easier. But playing, up around I'd say the first 3 frets can be, your fingers can get quite crowded up there. So, but great guitar. Actually, this is the guitar I play the most right now, and I like it. Right, and the other guitar I purchased recently was, which I really like. I also really like, but it has an issue with it, right? And it was this one. I bought this guitar, and I paid. Yeah, it was, I guess, $657. I bought this guitar, which is, I always wanted to get a G&L. Now G&L guitars are, how am I doing on honor? Oh, we're starting to make some progress.
How are you?
Still a long ways away from 200,000 honor, but now G&L guitars, like Fender guitars, if you know anything about Fender guitars was started by Leo Fender, right? And some other guy, I think, right? And so he sold, Leo sold Fender guitars in this, I think in the 70s. And he ended up starting his own company called G&L, which is Leo Fender and somebody else. Who started? Okay, Leo passed away. So I guess I don't know who is the G. Yeah, the company was founded by George and Leo. I don't remember who George was. But anyways, George and Leo Fender. And so what Leo did, Leo's the one who came up with a lot of the designs for the original, the original Fender guitars, which to this today are still considered to be probably the most played guitars in the world, really. I mean, Fenders are probably the most purchased guitars in the world for electric. The Stratocaster and Telecaster. And Leo's the one who pretty much designed those. But when he went to G&L and started his own guitar company, he took those designs, because he owned those designs pretty much, and he kind of changed them a little bit. He tried to basically perfect them a little bit. Whether or not he succeeded, not sure about that. But I always wanted to get a G&L guitar just to see like how good is it compared to like a Telecaster, Fender Telecaster versus a G&L. Now, I screwed up on when I purchased this guitar because if you look, it's hard to tell in the picture, but I screwed up and didn't look at this picture close enough when I ordered this guitar. The nut here is cut too shallow. This is a brand new guitar too. I bought this brand new. If you notice the string, the low E string here, notice how when you see this E string here, the top of the metal of this string should be above the nut a little bit, and you can see it's not. You can see it's sunk down in the nut. Also, this string shouldn't be this far down. This string shouldn't be this far down. So this nut is cut too deep. These strings are too far down in the nut. And I should have noticed that when I purchased this guitar, but I didn't notice it, because you just don't expect that to be the case on a brand new guitar, for the nut to be so improperly cut. So the problem this guitar has is that there's some string rattling on these first two strings, and it's just simply because the strings are too far down in the nut, which means they're too close to the frets, especially at the lower frets, at these lower like first 2, 3, 4, 5 frets. And really, there's ways you can fix it, but the easiest way to fix it is to replace the nut. So I've actually already purchased a brand new nut for this guitar. I just need to take it to a guitar shop near me, and I'm going to have them replace the nut. But this guitar, which is the only reason I haven't really been playing that guitar, is because it just rattles. So it's really unfortunate, and I probably should have told the guy who sold it to me that, I'm just not the kind of person who likes to argue about things. I'm not a very confrontational person. I just don't like to waste my time dealing with things that are negative. I don't like negative stuff. I like to focus on hopefully positive things, right? So whatever, but I mean, honestly, and it's not something a person who sells guitars may even know. I mean, he probably, people that sell guitars, they don't always, it's not like they're going to go and check the nut on every single guitar and have enough knowledge to understand that, hey, this nut's isn't right? But it is surprising that a guitar that's brand new from the shop would have an improperly cut nut. But this is the lower end, right? This is the lower end G&L. Like, because every guitar company usually, like most of the major manufacturers, have like the ones that are made in the U.S., which are going to be the most expensive. Like Fender has the Fullerton, California plant that makes their most expensive Fenders, and then you have their slightly the more inexpensive plant, which is in Mexico, which makes Fender guitars, and then you have the next kind of almost I don't want to say the step down, but then you have a kind of comparable plant in Indonesia, right? Now, who makes the better guitar between the Mexican plant and the Indonesian plant? That's a big debate, to be honest. I think in the old days I would have said Indonesia, but I would say currently, like I would say today, I feel like the Mexican plant's has gotten better. And I think guitars made in the Mexican plant are maybe slightly better than the Indonesian ones. But either way, the Mexican and Indonesian plants make good guitars, and a lot of the guitar companies use the same plants. So like you'll see like G&L and maybe Fender and maybe even some other guitar companies that they have the same plant in Indonesia is making guitars for multiple different companies. So the quality of those are very similar, right? Because the people that are making them are the same people. Just, it'd be like somebody making, Ford cars versus Nissan or something in the same construction plant. The quality is not any different because they're people that are doing it, and the facility's good. It's just a different car, just a different label on the car, right? Different brand. And then after the Mexican and Indonesian guitar plants, you go down to the worst plant, which is China, which is kind of always the case with China, isn't it? The quality in the Chinese. So the Chinese made guitars, no matter what guitars they are typically considered to be the worst quality.
Lovely.
So what I was trying to say though is this one was made in Indonesia, and the quality of it's quite good. The only thing I could find wrong with it was the nut. Outside of that, I think the quality is quite good. But if you wanted to get this guitar, they obviously have the counterpart, the American-made version of it. But that's going to be a lot more expensive. So that one I bought was around $700, which I think is pretty, it's a pretty good, But if you go to Reverb and look at the Fullerton G&L, I'm typing all that right, it's going to be around $1,800. So that guitar made in now this isn't the semi-hollow body, but that Fullerton Deluxe Blues Boy, which is basically the guitar, although this is slightly different. Is it? Hold on a second. Does mine? Yeah, this one doesn't have that's a different pickup. So semi. It's really this one. But this is a used one, but this is basically the same. This one here is the same as the one I have, but this one's made in the Indonesia plant, and this one here is made in the in the Fullerton, California plant. And I can just tell looking at the quality, even just looking at the pictures, I can tell the quality looks better. The knobs look like better quality. I can see the pickup even the pickup looks like better quality, but it's not a semi-hollow body. I can actually tell just looking at this picture the quality looks better, which is a testament to how many guitars I've looked at in my life, which is a shit ton. But the quality also, it's like, depends, like what kind of quality. I mean, there's quality in the electronics, there's quality in the fit and finish of the guitar, right? There's quality in the woods, what type of woods they're using. So when you say quality, it could be, one of so many different things. When I'm talking about quality, I was talking about more the fit and finish and kind of the finishing of the paint on the guitar, and like this, I can just tell the fit and finish looks really, really good. I can tell the way the ashtray is aligned with the pick guard, the way just the type of pick. I can tell that the metal plate looks like a little bit thicker than this one. This one looks a little thinner. The plate itself, the metal itself. This one looks a little thicker to me. It's hard, and that's just because I've looked at so many. But see, the metal here looks a little bit thicker. And the knobs have the more rounded, let's see. Yeah, it's hard to tell in the yeah, that's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, it just looks a little bit better quality. It's nice that it's got an actual metal plate, the serial number on. I didn't know they did that. That's a little unusual. Not sure I would even want a metal plate screwed into my headstock, to be honest. So yeah, there's a lot to consider when you're talking about guitars. But this guitar, what I would like to say about this one, this semi-hollow body, is I've been incredibly impressed with the resonation of that guitar. Like, it has so much volume unplugged, like without this guitar being plugged in, and you're just strumming it. It almost sounds like an acoustic guitar. I can't tell you. And I've played other semi-hollow bodies. I've played other Telecaster thin lines, And this is by far, not even close, the most resonant thin line I've ever played. So, super excited about this guitar, about how it sounds. I don't like the neck. Now, there's nothing wrong with the neck. Like, there's nothing like inherently wrong with the neck. It's just it's a different shape than Fender's necks. So I'm used to Fender necks. So this neck's a little bit wider at the nut than a lot of the Fender ones, which, you know, is fine. I'm just not really used to that. That's the other thing too, is if you're primarily a Fender person, it's kind of hard to buy guitars that aren't Fender because you get so used to, you know, the feel of Fenders, because the Fenders do have a pretty consistent feel to them, specifically the neck. And but the one thing is, if you play guitar long enough and you're good enough of a player, you can pretty much very, very quickly adjust to almost any guitar you pick up, just because, you know, you've played so many of their less. So the more guitars you play, the better you get it at being able to just pick one up and play it. But yeah, this neck, even though it's not my favorite neck, there's nothing wrong with the neck. It's very slick. It's very easy to move your hand up and down. The frets are nice. It's got good frets. The frets are obviously these little metal, you know, bars that go across. Those are the frets. And the frets vary across all guitars. I mean, some frets are, you know, some are thinner than others, some are taller than others, some are more rounded, and at, you know, like the tops of them are more tapered. Some of them aren't tapered, some are blocky. So it just, again, there's so much variation in guitars, you know. So when you ask the question, why do guitar players have so many guitars? I think probably the easiest answer is because there's so many different types of guitars out there, and there's so many different variations, even in the same one. Like if you go, if I go and buy this guitar, this Fender 70s Telecaster Custom, this Ventera, and I buy 10 of these, they're all the same model, right? I go into the store and they've got 10 of these on the wall. If I buy all 10 of them, all of them are going to be different. Even though it's the exact same model, every single one's going to be different. They're going to be different weights. You know, the grain of the wood's going to be different. How each one sounds, I guarantee you, it's going to be slightly different. So, because it's wood. Wood is never the same, right? Like, every piece of wood is different than every other piece of wood. And even though it's maybe incredibly minute, the resonation of each piece of wood is going to be slightly different. And that all affects the sound of the guitar. Yeah. Another really good YouTube channel to go to is, let's see. Is this guy. I like this guy's channel a lot, and he did some videos on the GNL. I think it was... Did he do... I'm looking for the one. This one.
Hi, this is Jonathan. How you guys doing? I've been ordering guitars online for almost a year now, and I've been blessed because the guitars that I've ordered, or most of the guitars that I ordered from Thomann, arrive well set up and easy to play, you know, at that affordable price, you know. Earlier this year, I went down to a shop and picked up this made in Japan Stratocaster, a Fender made in Japan Stratocaster. I just sat down there for about a couple of minutes, you know, about 20 minutes, half an hour. And the guitar immediately spoke to me, you know, and of course I picked up the guitar. You might well know the white Fender Strat.
So here's another person who's a good guitar player who's, you know, played guitar his whole life, and he's like telling you kind of what happens to him and why he ends up buying so many guitars is because I don't think a guitar player ever truly is happy with their guitars, right? And you love the guitars, yeah, but you're always looking for something that feels better or sounds better. Like it's like the eternal quest, you know. And some people are lucky, like some people are really lucky to find that, and that's why you'll find certain guitar players who, like for example, Willie Nelson has played the same acoustic guitar like almost his whole entire career, right? Because he just loves the way it sounds, and it's a super cheap guitar too. It's like a super cheap, like freaking Sears JCPenney guitar or some like really cheap guitar, but he liked the way it sounded. He got used to playing it, and he's played the damn thing forever. And yeah, people like Eric Clapton who played like a specific Fender Strat for a long time, and even like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan played mostly the same Strat for most of his career. But
Stratocaster. It kind of made me think about back in the days when I used to go down to music stores and spend like hours there and trying out guitars, and sometimes some of the guitars are, you know, they kind of like entice me, and so I would just pick them up and spend my hard-earned money. But these are tools of the trade, you know. So this music store in Singapore called City Music, it's a dangerous place to be for me. Ever since I found out that they carry GNL guitars. As you might know, in an earlier video, I actually bought a S500 made in Fullerton, that Stratocaster, the GNL Stratocaster. I actually sat down there for about, half an hour playing the guitar, and just immediately spoke to me, and so I bought it. While I was down there yesterday or the day before, and picked up a GNL tribute ASAT Classic Blues Boy. It's a mouthful, but you know, I didn't have any.
It is a mouthful.
How should we call it? Inkling to try out a tribute model, because you know the fact that you know it's made in Indonesia, you know, and
yeah. So the tributes, like he said, yeah, the naming of the GNL guitars could be a little bit of a mouthful, like he said. So the GNL tribute is the cheaper version. It's kind of like how Fender has the Squire guitars, which are the cheaper version. So GNL has the tribute. So the tribute's made in Indonesia. So that's what he's talking about.
Straight away, you can't compare it to the U.S. made. So what happened was I saw the guitar and I just picked it up because, you know, I just wanted to try how it sounded, you know, I just want to try how it felt. And this is the guitar.
So this is his tribute, his ASA. So basically the same guitar as the one I purchased. Right? I don't know where mine went. I think I lost. So where did I put mine? I guess I closed that one down. So the same as this one, right? It's just a different color, right? That's really the only difference. Different finish.
This is a semi-solid. It's got two sound chambers, and it's an with an F hole. This is the GNL ASAT Classic Blues Boy. This guitar features 22 frets, medium jumbo, nickel medium jumbo. Now, the interesting thing about this guitar is that it has a humbucker, you know, and a traditional, single coil, but these are not your usual single coil. This is the MFD, the magnetic field design by Leo Fender, the same ones that is on my S500. This, on the other hand, is a custom designed Anico humbucker. You know, there are a couple of models from Fullerton which features the set lever, you know, from Seymour Duncan's, but these are the GNL design Anico humbuckers. Standard part, you know, standard three-way switch. Of course, the famous brass saddles, the individual brass saddle, which I love so much, which I highlighted on the previous video where I featured the GNL Telecaster, the ASAT, the blue one.
Are they brass saddles?
This is so cool. The fact that this is made in Indonesia, and this was actually made in July last year, you know, I'm just like kind of blown away by the quality, the make of this guitar. You know, it's so well made, you know, and I couldn't find any flaw in it. The pickups are from the States, and these are from the States. The rest of the hardware, I'm not so sure. These are your standard tuners. They're not lock. They're non-locking. I have a string tree lying around, so I fix it on here. It came in with your traditional V, the butterfly type of string tree. Now the nut, I'm not so sure. It looks, I think it's a new bolt. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section down below. It could be a new bolt. And then again, it could be plastic. But
Yeah, but I like John. John does it really. He's funny because he always ends up buying too many guitars, and he always like, my wife's gonna kill me. That's kind of like how I feel. Like, I bought 2 guitars this year, and my wife's like, she just knows it's my weakness. My weakness is buying guitars. I can't help it. So she gives me a little slack. Yeah.
Destroy them.
You do have your pick shelf of violins. Yeah, I played guitar for a long time, but I think you asked a really interesting question. Though, why do guitar players have so many guitars? Now, it's not an easy question to answer, but there's definitely a lot of reasons as to why. I think, like I said, one reason is because there's so many different types of guitars, and so you want to try them out to see which ones you like. But the other reason is, the more you try, the better you get at identifying what it is that you like about a guitar, right? When you first start to play guitars, you don't understand that you may just naturally play a guitar better that has a certain shape, a certain shape of neck may suit you more than other shapes of neck. A certain type of wood may tonally sound good to you, but you don't know that because you've never played a guitar before. So you have to buy these and different ones and try. It's like a tennis racket. Like, if you're a tennis player, you don't know which tennis racket is going to be the best one for you, and you may pick, and they're all different. All the rackets are different. They're different materials. Some have more spin, some have more power, some flex more, some are very stiff. Some are going to jolt your arm a lot more than others, and some work good for serves and some aren't as good for serves. Some are better for ground strokes. Again, you have to, and the only way to figure that out is to hit with a lot of different tennis rackets. So the guitars are the same way. You got to play with lots and lots of different guitars. But in the world of guitars, it's it's 100-fold, it's 1,000-fold. Like in tennis, there's only so many different tennis rackets. Maybe there's 100 different rackets you might want to try. There's more than that, but I mean, in general, there's major manufacturers of tennis rackets. Let's just say in general, there's probably going to be about 50 to 100 different types of styles of tennis rackets. Well, guitars, there's 10 to 20,000 different. There's so many different guitar manufacturers, so many different guitars, different types of wood, different types of pickups, different amps. I mean, the combinations of things that could make the sound of your guitar is so unbelievably massive. So every time you play one of those different combinations, it's like you can check it off the box. You've got this big long laundry list of configurations. Okay, I played the Fender Stratocaster with these pickups, with a rosewood neck, and with these, like I said, these pickups with this amp, and then if you even want to go further, you can say with these pedals. You can write that down on a piece of paper. Okay, check, I've done that. What did I like about it? What didn't I like about it? And then you just keep going and going and going, and you start to build a knowledge base of understanding what it is you like. It's like, okay, I understand that I like it. Like for me, the first thing was understanding the brand. I didn't really like Les Pauls. There's the major guitar brands that people know, Les Paul, Fender. I realized pretty quickly that I didn't really care for Les Paul guitars that much. I didn't like how heavy they were. I didn't like the way they sat on my lap. They're not that comfortable to hold. And the necks are pretty cool. I do like the necks on them, but that's about it. The only thing about a Les Paul I liked was the neck. That was it. I didn't like the blocky body. They weren't very contoured. They just weren't very comfortable to hold. Played the Stratocaster. It was much more comfortable to hold, not as heavy. It just felt easier to play. I can move my hand up down the neck, playing different notes. Just felt easier. And then I started playing the Telecaster, and what struck me about the Telecaster was the simplicity of it. Telecaster is the most simplistic almost of electric guitars. Like, it's not super complicated. Anyways, And I thought I always thought the Strat would be my favorite guitar, and for years I played Stratocasters, but then I started playing Telecasters, and I realized that without a doubt, Telecaster is my favorite guitar. And it's weird because the Telecaster is more of a blocky body like the Les Paul, so you would think it would be as comfortable to play, but for some reason it really is comfortable to play. So I never really understood that, you know. I mean, it's got this kind of blocky body compared to like a Strat, you know. Like if you go here and you open up John's channel, I'm sure we can find one really quickly of him playing, you know, Strat, you know, Fender, Stratocaster, and, you know, Fender Custom Shop Classic.
Hi, this is.
So I probably should have picked one that wasn't black, so you could actually see the body a lot better. You know, so but this body shape is much easier to hold than this. This is much blockier, whereas this one's more contoured. Let's see if we can get an angle of that. Here, it's just more contoured in here. It's not as thick through here either as Telly's a little bit thicker through here. Strat's a little bit not quite as thick because the edges are rounded and curved. I'm kind of losing my voice. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit, guys. But what I want to say is this guitar that I purchased, this one here, it just resonates. I've never had a semi-hollow body like this that has this kind of resonation that sounds like an acoustic guitar. And every time I play it, I'm just blown away. But it has so much issue with string buzzing that I can't really play it. So I really need to get to the guitar shop near me and have them replace that nut, and that should be able to fix the issue with that guitar. Nut was super cheap. I think the nut was like 15 or 20 bucks to buy a new nut, and then I'm not sure how much it'll cost for them to put it in. Probably won't be that much. Something like that. Maybe I'll pay 50 to 100 bucks or something to have that work done. I wouldn't imagine it'd be more than like probably 100 bucks, but who knows? I haven't done that type of guitar work on a guitar in a while, so might be more. But where's that? Do I still have that site up? No, I don't have Fender up anymore. Do I not have it up? No. Ah, here it is. Yeah, so out of these guitars I have, like this pawn shop's a really bizarre one. I had one of the pickups on this was bad. When I bought the guitar, the pickup wasn't good. It wasn't working, so I actually had it, the bridge pickup, I had it replaced. But I don't even play that guitar. It just sits in the case in the closet. This one's also in a case. I bought this one I bought in 2000. It's one of the older ones I have. I love the guitar. I replaced the pickups on this one too, with lace sensor pickups, and I like this guitar a lot, but it just sits in the closet. This one has a lot of personal, like this one here has a lot of like nostalgia to it, because it's the first time I went to a guitar store with my wife when we weren't married. Before we were married, we were just dating, and I bought this guitar, and so it has this like weird nostalgia memory to it. Like I remember being in the store buying it with my wife, and I remember being really happy that I liked the guitar, and I remember her being with me, and she seemed to really enjoy that experience of going to a guitar store and seeing me play lots of different guitars. So it's, even though I don't play this one much, it's hard for me to sell that guitar because it's linked to that memory of me buying that guitar with my wife. It's kind of weird, but isn't that weird? Isn't that weird, dude? You know? So it's like hard to sell. It's hard to ever think about getting rid of that particular guitar because of that. I'm losing my voice. All right, so how much honor do we have? 150. I think that's about the best I can do because I'm losing my voice and it's 6:20 in the morning. So I think we'll stop here. But we're gonna have to catch up on the weekend with the AV weekend. But yeah, so this one, I do like this guitar, but I never play it. The American Standard one is my oldest the oldest guitar I own right now. I bought it in like 98, I think. And then this one I bought used, and I like the guitar, but it's got some weird, like the bridge unit, the tremolo unit. Like if you shake the guitar body, like the tremolo unit kind of, I think it's the springs in the back, they like rattle in the body. So I have to go to a guitar repair shop and just talk to them about that and see if do I just need to add another spring, or is there a loose screw, or I don't know. I'm not sure. It could just be something with that guitar. I don't know. But out of all these guitars, I don't really play any of these. Most of these just sit in cases. So, yeah. This guitar here that I bought, once I get this fixed, I will be playing this a shit ton. Once I get this one fixed, get the nut fixed on this one, I'll be playing this guitar a lot because I really, really love the resonation of this one. This one just has a great sound. It's amazing, actually. But like I said, you're always looking for... Oh, I didn't know these guys did offset guitars. I love offset guitars. I like this one here. This one's nice. This guy, I like John. I sold loads of guitars to buy this one Nachocaster.
Danocaster versus the Nachocaster, because this one, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about whether you've got any sort of opinion on the relicking and all that sort of stuff. I'll catch you in another video soon. I'm going to film an intro now, but that's my first sort of go with my own Nachocaster.
So he bought the Nachocaster, and as you can see, the Nachocaster is like a $10,000 guitar. He goes, I could sell all my guitars for this one. And then he made a bunch of videos. This was 3 months ago.
My buddy Jake brought this guitar back from Nashville, and it's presented me with a few problems.
This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons. So this is a Nachocaster. I don't know if you can tell from the intro, but it's a guitar that has really caught my eye, but also more importantly, I really like the way it plays. Of course, these are supposed to be, you know, very accurate representations and recreations of a certain era of...
Okay, well, I can tell you one thing. The screws aren't accurate recreations of a 1950s Telecaster, because I'm pretty sure they had the flathead screws, so not the Phillips. So it's just kind of a funny thing that he didn't go with the flatheads.
Fender history, basically, right? And the guitars that these are based on now fetch kind of bonkers money, given that there are so few of them, and given that the vintage guitar boom has very much happened, right? And maybe it's still continuing.
The biggest difference with these is you can tell the pickups are so different. Like if you pick up a Telecaster today, it's not going to sound like this Telecaster, especially the neck pickup. It just has a very muted, silky, creamy sound to it. And it's very smooth. Whereas most of the newer Telecasters that are made today, the pickups are flat. They don't feel as open. You know, the sound isn't as resonant, isn't open. It feels more like someone had put a... What do you call it when you taper off the high end and the low end in recording? I can't remember what that's called, but that's what it sounds like. But you can see here he's saying a vintage tele is probably unobtainable at this point. So if you want to buy like a Telecaster that's like a vintage Telecaster, like one that's like let's say a 1950s or 1960s, you're looking at paying like anywhere from like 20 upwards of maybe even $50,000, right? I mean they're just ridiculously priced, right? Like if I go like Fender, let's say 55 Telecaster. I don't know if we'll find one. Yeah, I don't see one. Let's just do Fender vintage Telecaster. And I'm not even finding any. And that's a testament also to like how popular they've become, that it's hard to even find any on Reverb, which is like the place to go probably to buy a vintage Telecaster. I mean, I guess if we went to what's that guy? I guess we went to, okay, so here we got, Norm's got like a 59, Jazzmaster for 31,000. I don't know if he's got any. Let's go Fender, electric, body. I mean, Norm's always got tons and tons of vintage. He just doesn't always have them listed on his website. So you can see he has very few listed on his website. But if you go to Norman's Rare Guitars, right? And if you go to like the guitar of the day,
I'm your host, Mike.
On Norm's, they're going to show, and they do these like pretty much every day, right? There's like a video, and if we do Norman's Rare Guitars, and let's just say we look for, I don't know, let's see if we can find like I don't know, 56 Telecaster or something. I don't know if I can find one this way. There you go. This is from 2 years ago, but you can see this is,
like it almost is unbelievable, but it's
a 1956 Telecaster, right?
real.
So Norm does these guitars of the day, and so when he does a guitar of the day, if you have pricing queries about the guitars and the guitar of the day, you just call them up, right? So like they'll do this. So a lot of these guitars they put in their guitar of the day aren't on the floor in Norm's, so like you won't see them on the website, but you can see them on the guitar of the day and just call Norm up and say, hey, I want to buy that guitar. You know what I mean? But you're going to pay, premium, super duper. It ain't going to be cheap, right? Wonder, I'm just really quick. If we go to filters, let's go to somebody. Let's see new and use. We don't want all brands. We just want Fender. And price, let's say minimum $20,000. Okay, so here you get an idea for how much vintage Fenders cost. So here's a 1959 Fender Telecaster for $26,000. So that's why something like a Nacho Caster is a little bit more interesting to some people, because you're getting something that supposedly, this guitar here that Nathan's playing, is going to be a very, very similar to this guitar. Like, I'm not sure what year this one's modeled after, though. Every person who's making these guitars, they're going to model after a specific year. They're going to get the specific specifications. They're going to look at the neck. They're going to look at the radius. They're going to look at everything, all the measurements. Typically, they're going to say this is modeled after a specific guitar. Or you can talk to Nacho probably personally and say, hey, I want you to make me one. And I want it to be as close as you can get it to a 1959 Fender Telecaster. Right? And I don't know if he can do that or not, but you can certainly ask him. When you're paying $10,000, you can certainly ask. Here's a 1951 No-Caster, incredibly rare guitar for $50,000. Right? This guitar literally fell into my lap from the sky. We checked it over and over, and it's indeed exactly an amazing 1951 that literally made me cry. So apparently this guy, I don't know how this guy found it. The other thing that's scary about buying these types of guitars, though, is, I mean, you got to make sure that you get these authenticated. I mean, these knobs obviously aren't original knobs, but you have to make sure that you can authenticate these guitars. But look at this guitar. I mean, it's old. I can tell just by looking at it. Although the headstock looks, see all this dark coloring here near the top? This is from smoke, most likely. And even this on the neck looks, the coloration looks a little bit, it hasn't been in a smoke-free environment, let's just put it that way. In fact, even the body looks off, like somebody tried to refinish it or something. It doesn't look right. And why is the coloration of the metal here yellow? That's kind of odd. And there's a lot of things about this that would, but it does have the flat, see the flat screws? That's what I was talking about. The older Tellys have flat screws, not Phillips. Yeah, but I would never pay this much money, even if this isn't a real, 50s one Telecaster, no caster. Again, there's the flat screws, which is period correct. Even if this was the real deal, I would never pay that much money for something that's so beat up. I'm just not that into vintage. I would want something that's in a much better condition. More something like this, which is significantly better condition. In fact, this one looks, look at the checking. This is like, they call this checking. This is when the finish cracks, like the polyurethane. Over time, it just cracks from age. They call it checking. See how the body's got the cracks, which a lot of people find that very desirable. I'm not going to lie, I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, I think the checking on this guitar looks quite nice. But again, whether or not this is the real deal, you got to check that stuff out. And these also have like the clay dot inlays. You can see the dots are actually coming out. See that? These dots originally in the older fenders were made out of clay. They're not like mother of pearl or anything, so the clay can actually kind of break off and wear out. And you can see a lot of these dot inlays are actually have come out. But you can get that fixed. That's not a big deal. Oh, jeez, look at the finish on the neck is all coming off. That's crazy. And then you can see the serial number. It's a pretty low number. Look at hopefully that's just paint. Wow, look at the tuning, how it's just impressed into the wood. Here's the simplicity of the electronics on these Telecasters. It was just a couple pickups, a very small cavity cut for the wires to go to the control plate. And even the cover, the metal here is chipping off. That's crazy. Like whatever they used to coat it. These almost look replaced, but it's crazy. And there's the date right there, 759. Oh, 59. That's a date. That's usually where they date to the old guitars is behind the pickups. So that's period correct too. Also the tooling marks. Just the mark here and here. A lot of it's how the guitar was held down on the machine table. You'll see different impressions in the wood. Cool stuff.
This isn't the real thing per se, but I think it's a pretty close, like Jake's had people reaching out and saying like, what is that, on the Instagram stuff. And not only that, but if you think about someone like Julian Large, who obviously has had, real guitars from this era, this is now his gigging guitar, right? Which is pretty interesting to me. Other people that have played one, I think Tom Bukovac did have one, I think. And Jed now has one as well. They're interesting things. Wherever you fall on the side of like the relic debate, I think is up to you. You know that it's not an old guitar, but at the same time, it looks like it. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a trick of the light. But what really jumps out to me about this guitar, I think, are the pickups. It's got a V-neck, as guitars of this sort of time did. Which is surprisingly comfortable. And if you've never, got on with a V. I think. I don't know. It feels right, basically. You know.
It's thick though. This neck is thick. Watch this.
Got on with a V. I think.
I mean, you can see. Look how that is a thick neck. You know, for me personally, I wouldn't want a neck that thick. I actually bought a Telecaster, a Baja Telecaster, and I paid quite a bit of money for it too. And I didn't realize how fat the neck was. They call it like the baseball bat neck, and it was like this, and I couldn't get along with it. It was just too thick. I ended up selling it pretty quickly because I just knew I'd never play it. I was like, I can't play this, and so I would never. If I had this guy Nacho make me a guitar, I would definitely want a 60s era neck, which is a thinner neck. This is too thick for me.
I don't know, it feels right, basically. Nacho is one of the authorities on this era of tellies, right? And I think that's kind of the interesting thing about it. Like, the guys working at the Fender factory, presumably in the early 50s, were not necessarily experts yet, right? This is kind of like their first solid body guitars that they'd made, but there's no reason you'd imagine that if someone was really dedicated to, you know, making great replicas of these, that they couldn't come up with something.
Even looking at it here, the neck looks very thick. Like how far this piece of the neck is up off the body is higher than what I would have expected on a modern Telecaster. So the slab of wood that is the fingerboard, you can see it's thicker too. It's from here to here. So it's a thicker neck, even just from bottom to top.
Good.
Anyways, I'm out of here. I went on a big tangent. Some kind of recording audio filtering. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just called. It's called when you kind of take off the top end and the bottom end. It's called a compressor. That's what I was trying to think. It's basically typically called like compression. A lot of them are modern Telecaster pickups just feel like almost like they're compressed, you know, where it's. So Nathan's always played K-Line. And you can see here he's got a K-Line. And K-Line or another manufacturer does kind of custom build guitars.
Ionic Audio say I don't know if that's a pretty good telly.
Yeah, so the difference is this one sounds brighter. This one sounds brighter. This one's more creamy. It just it sounds more resonant too. This one sounds more resonant, sounds more creamy. This one sounds brighter. I mean, honestly, I think this one sounds way better. But again, someone who doesn't play a guitar a lot, they're not going to. Your ears won't pick that out. Again, your ears get better the more instruments you play. Your ears start to get better at picking out the different variations in sound. I can pick it out because I've played so many guitars, but this one to me definitely sounds better. But it's also the not the eye of the beholder; it's the ear of the beholder, right? It's like the ear of the listener. So a lot of people are going to have different opinions, and it's which is like looking at a piece of artwork. Everybody has a different opinion of whether it's good art or not. Same thing with guitars. Like I may like the sound of this Telecaster better than this one, but there's going to be a ton of people who like this one better than the other one. So when I say I like it better, it doesn't mean it's better for you. It just means it's better for me, you know. So yeah, it was interesting where John had played the Nacho and he couldn't, you know, he loved the Nacho and then he ended up buying. I don't think he bought the Nacho though. I think he ended up buying the Danocaster because it was cheaper. Or no, he bought the Nacho. He bought the Nacho caster, and then I don't know if he was regretting it. I couldn't quite figure it out, but it felt like he was.
This channel is supported.
It felt like he had buyer's remorse, you know. Because like you can see here, look, for my first time playing it, I'm ill, you know.
Versus the Nacho caster, because This one, I feel quite ill at the moment, so I need to
He said, I feel quite ill at the moment.
kind of let it settle in a little bit more. The body looks pretty fantastic. I think the neck on that Dano might even... I don't know, I'll do a video on this at some point, like the Danocaster versus the Natrocaster, because this one... I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about whether you've got any sort of opinion on the relicking and all that sort of stuff. I'll catch you in another video soon. I'm going to film an intro now, but that's my first sort of go with my own Natrocaster. So, yeah. I mean, either this or the Dano will probably have to go at some stage. So, if anyone is particularly interested in either, let's talk about it a bit.
So I guess he's got both. I guess he's got a Natrocaster and a Danocaster. Yeah. Oh, look at this, though. Taking a break from the Nacho. Something doesn't feel right.
This channel is supported by TrueFire. Super excited to buy, and I've been really enjoying playing it with one small issue happening, which is that I've been feeling some sort of weirdness in this left hand. So I'm going to put this in its case for a while and maybe even ask my buddy.
Look, have you ever had a guitar that didn't agree with your hands? So he's really talking about the neck. Like he said, there's some weirdness in the neck. It could be that he's not used to playing a V-neck. So this video, he's talking about that. And again, that's just another example, John, of why people go through different guitars. You know, he grabbed this guitar. He knew it probably had a V-neck, but until you play a V-neck, you know, I've got a Fender 50s custom that has a V-neck, and a V-neck is a very different shape than like a C-neck. So if you look at Fender neck shapes, you can easily find a diagram of these, right? And there's quite a few diagrams that you'll find on this, right? And let's see. So this is a V. This is a hard V, right? And then a soft V. Like this is the shape. The one he's playing right now is probably a medium V. You know, when you looked at the video, you could kind of see that. I don't know if yeah. When you looked here, you could actually kind of see the shape of the neck. I think better in the other video, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that the one he's playing is kind of a medium V. But the one he's probably more used to is this one, which is the C. And most of the Fender necks are this shape, most of the modern ones. And then there's the U shape. This is the baseball bat. This is the one that's just big, huge. And although the V also feels like a baseball bat, but it's so much more tapered. This one, though, is the worst. I do not like the U shape. This is the soft V, which I've played. One of my guitars has this, the soft V or the medium. I can't remember which one. Like here's 56 Stratocaster, 60 Stratocaster, SRV Stratocaster. Oh, here's a 62. So this is probably my favorite shape, which would be the oval C shape. Just because I don't have super big hands, so it's easier for me to get my hands around the neck. So 62 Strat would probably be the best for me. This is a 51 Nocaster. Super. Anyways, that's different neck shapes. And that also makes a huge difference on the feel of the guitar. But these are the most common ones. You can see the 50s, soft V, 60s, oval. That's why 60s are my favorite. 60s shaped necks are my favorite. And then 50s. I have a 50s neck. I have a 50s Classic, and it has this neck. And it's very weird. A very weird neck, but I actually like the 50s. I actually like this one. I think better than this one because it's a little bit thinner through here than this one. So I don't know which one my 50s is. It's one of these two, though. I actually have to look at it. But anyways, I'm spinning. I gotta go. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.